Hey everybody, welcome back to Big Hair Gaming. We're back here again covering Last War, and today we're going to talk about the war leader profession, primarily during Season 1. So I've already gone over kind of the engineer profession and spoke about a lot of the benefits to that. And when it comes to, why should you pick one or the other, for me, the main difference comes down to what level you are going into, or not even necessarily going into, but what level are you and kind of what are your needs. So as I mentioned in the engineer video, if you're not level 30, you don't yet have your T10s. You're still working through a bunch of your constructions or a bunch of your scientific research. I think going the engineer route is the way to go. There's a lot of skills in that skill tree that are going to be super beneficial for you in terms of aiding your growth. There's ways to speed up. There's all sorts of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff in there, and I go over all of that in my engineer skill tree video. Now, if you are level 30 and you do have your T10s, especially towards the beginning of Season 1, you're going to be a really big, powerful force for your alliance, especially if you're one of the top folks. And a lot of the skills that are in the war leader tree are going to be of really big benefit to you. Also, they're going to give you as you might imagine, a very big edge in combat. And individually, some of the things might not seem to be, that spectacular, but I can promise that they do add up and they do become very powerful. I'm not yet level 30, and I do not have my T10s yet, although I am working towards both. I'm kind of dragging my feet. I have a lot of speed ups, and I'm just simply not using them. But let's get into the war leader profession. So just to give the bounds for this video, I'm just going to talk about the skills going up to level 40. Now, I'll talk about it from the perspective of if you're starting the season and working our way up the tree. But one thing to keep in mind is that when you do get a skill point redistribution token or whatever, you can redistribute the tree from the top down. That was something that I don't think I was aware of when I was doing my engineer video, but it's constructed with the idea in mind that you're doing it from the bottom up and you're gaining levels as you go along. So I'll do this one in the same form as well. So just to give a quick breakdown of what we're seeing here, the skills that are on the right, the skills on the left here are going to be the ones that persist throughout the season, and the ones that are on the right are the ones that are specific to the season that you're in. So once your Season 1 ends, you'll get all of the skill points for the stuff that are on the far right. You'll get those back. And then you can redistribute them in your tree in the off season if you want to, or you can hang on those skill points and then spend them when Season 2 starts. Also totally fine. But it's worth, just to reiterate, the level cap for the season is level 40, and it stays there until Season 2 starts as far as I can tell. So just keep that in mind. You do have some other ways to get some bonus skill points, but we'll get to that later. So first, when we start off, we have this tier 1. We have 3 skills down here. First, I'll talk about the one on the far right. This is combat experience. What this is going to do is going to give you increased profession EXP from killing monsters on the world map. I think this one is definitely a take, especially for the early game, because you're going to want to level up your profession as much as you can to grab some of these skills, and this is going to help do that. As you get further along into the season, the amount of EXP that you get from killing stuff on the world map is going to kind of feel negligible in terms of some of the other options that you have for building EXP, but in the beginning, definitely want to take it to start to boost that up. Then we have unit mobilization. I think this is a pretty good skill. At level 5, I believe it gives you a 250 of your highest level troops for free every day. 250, isn't a ton. And I think in the beginning, this is something that's easy to take because it's one of the first active skills that you do get. So it is like fun to be able to pop that every day and just get troops for free. It's not a whole lot, and like if you later in the skill tree you want to take those skill points and reinvest them into something else, like that is totally fine, and I wouldn't fault you for that. Then the last one is going to be immediate return, and this one I think is a pretty big player for you, especially on domestic battles. So when you are engaging with people on your home server, one of the things that you'll encounter is that you can't teleport away when somebody like teleports right next to you and tries to attack you if you've still got troops out of your base. So what this is going to do is this gives you multiple teleports per day, which allow you to teleport away even when your squad is not in your base. So this gives you some very good mobility to get around, and that's going to be one of those things that's going to compound that makes you more dangerous as a offensive competitor, and you'll kind of see these skills kind of snowball together to synergize pretty well. So what I would recommend is probably maybe take 1 or 2 levels here, take the combat experience, and then take one of the unit mobilizations if you want to. I think like this is not like a ton of troops, so if you wanted to dump them all and do immediate return, that's also very fine. Depending on how tumultuous your server is, you might find that jumping around a lot is like way more valuable to you than a couple hundred troops every day for free. So, you know, your judgment there. So once you get to level 5, then you open up this second level. Actually, I'll talk about this side first. This is a increased Profession Exp from upgrading the season buildings. So actually, as I said in the engineer video, I believe, this is a immediate focus for me, because you're going to be, especially during the very beginning of the season, you're going to be upgrading your buildings a lot. And like getting those extra EXP points means that you're going to level up your profession faster. That's going to get you more skill points faster and basically make you more dangerous quicker. So maxing this building inspiration 1, I believe at level 5, is it 3 levels or 5 levels? Yeah, 3 levels is going to give you an extra 15% EXP towards when you upgrade your buildings. And that's actually going to be pretty helpful in the late season as well, as you're pushing towards, you know, levels 30, 35, 40. Because you're going to get a lot of EXP from upgrading the buildings, especially as they get up higher and higher. So getting that extra 15% is going to be super helpful. Then we have hospital prep, which at max level, I believe gives you a 10% increase to your hospital capacity. This is like, you know, this is pretty good. There's some neat cheese tactics that you can utilize to kind of artificially increase your hospital capacity. But I'll get into that in another video. But for this one, I think this is like pretty decent at max level. Do you want to spend all the points to do that right off the rip? I'm not sure. Actually, I'll go back on that. I'll say you probably do want to push this up at least just a couple levels, at least to maybe level 3, because the other one is drill ground capacity, which at max level is going to boost you up to a 10% increase to your drill ground capacity size. And I've spoken about drill ground capacity increases before on the channel. For me, I find that I'm very rarely getting to the point every week where I'm totally at max capacity. By season 1, you should probably have at least 3 drill grounds. They might, depending on, you know, how frequently you play, they might be whatever level. But you can probably, you know, depending on what level you are, you can probably hang around a consistent like 15,000, maybe 20,000 or more troops, depending on your drill ground level. So like an extra 10%, like that's, you know, it's nothing to sneeze at, but it's not going to be like an absolute game changer. So if you don't max this one, like that's not a big deal. If you want to instead throw, you know, 3 points in the building inspiration to max that out, and then throw 2 in the hospital prep, that'd be totally fine. And if you want to skip this one entirely, that's just my opinion, though. I find that, you know, my troops being injured and having more to hang on to when the battle comes is more important than having them up front, because I can just as easily be caught off guard and then have my entire drill ground, swept away. But the greater my hospital capacity is, the more that I can recover, so I can come back and attack to do a counterattack. All right, so once we get up to level 10, then we have this third tier here. We have infection spread. This one is an easy take. There's only one skill point for it, and basically it allows you to pass virus along to other players when you attack them. So easy one there, and also everything that's in this right side tree, you need to take at least one skill point in it in order to progress to the next thing, except for these these three nodes here up at the topmost area, which are distinct from one another. So yeah, you only need one there. Then we have Urgent Cure, which at max level is going to help you cure 5,000 troops that are currently not being healed, and you can do that essentially once every 3 days. At max level. And then the other one is Craze, which is an increased damage during the war fever state. Now this one is really good, and it's gonna really start to snowball along with a lot of the other abilities. So this one I'd recommend definitely you want to max out, or at least start to invest in right away. And I think the Urgent Cure is also a useful one to have. That one's just gonna save you some resources in the hospital. It's just gonna save you some speed ups when you're recovering troops. You can only do it once every 3 days. So for me, I wouldn't put this one too high. But also your battle day is once a week. So even if it was once a day, you would still, not get a bonkers level of utility out of it, but it is still pretty good. So I would say maybe level this up one a little bit, maybe not all the way to the max, unless you want that full 5,000. But I definitely will put the weight towards Craze over Urgent Cure in terms of priority, because an extra 5% damage, that goes a long way for sure. Now moving along to tier 4, up at level 15. You got a Healing Expert, which allows you to remove some extra bonus virus stacks from every time you cure an ally. That one's a nice one to take. Basically, it takes you half the time to cure an ally and get them all the way down to 0. Only takes one skill point. Pretty easy take. Then we have Intensive Training, which is going to increase the training speed of the units that you build. And then you have Winning Pursuit, which when you're attacking a burning target is going to increase the casualty rate by 1%. So again, this is one of those abilities that just compounds with everything else. If you take Craze, you're dealing them more damage. If you take this one, once you attack them, you increase their healing, they're not healing, but their casualty rate by an additional 1%. At max level, that's going to be 5. And then over here with Intensive Training, this is just another one that's going to save you time, save you speed ups, that kind of thing. In terms of building damage utility, I would favor Winning Pursuit over the Intensive Training, but I would definitely still come back probably later and drop some extra points into Intensive Training, just because it's going to save you time forever. You're always going to be building troops, you're always going to need more, so anything that speeds that process up a little bit is going to be a big save for sure. So moving on up to level 20. So once we get there, then we have, actually I'll start on the right side, Double Exchange. This one I've spoken about in the engineer video. I put some points into this once upon a time, and to just be blunt, it's just not that good. Later on, towards the middle and latter end of the season, you just simply need so many materials that this just isn't going to cut it. Now, it is nice to have to throw a little bit at it, and you do have to take at least 1 point in it to get the next thing. But it's frankly just not that good. Just put 1 skill point in it and then move along. Next, we have Warfare Supplies, which is going to increase your daily plunder resource cap. What that means is, I can't remember when, but some time ago they added a plunder cap so that you can't just plunder someone indefinitely and bounce them around the map and just take them for everything that they have. You can't do that anymore. So what the plunder cap is that at a certain point, the amount of resources that you get from attacking other players starts to dwindle. And basically what this will do is it will kind of push that up a little bit more so you can still grab some more resources from them. This is definitely something that whether or not you have the war profession, you should definitely be doing it like every day. Depending on what like the rules of engagement on your server are for attacking people on your server or attacking people on the season or whatever. You can likely go to some server and find someone who, for reasons unknown, just opens every resource box that they've ever gotten all at once and just has a ton of resources. Take that as your sign of just like, those are your resources. So you should be... So take that as a sign that those are your resources. So you should be just like sending out people to attack and grabbing some resources from people who appear to be idle or whatever, or they just are resource farms or what have you. If somebody has, millions upon millions upon millions of resources, like they should be somebody that you're attacking like every day. Don't bounce them around the map so you can get the most out of them, but that's something that you should be doing on the regular, and this skill helps you do that better. Let's see. Then we have March in the Badlands, or March in Badlands. This basically just increases your marching speed in the contaminated lands, which is very straightforward. That's another utility kind of skill that just, if you're already good at, getting up close to people, initiating combat, and then pretty much what this whole skill tree is all about, this just helps you do that a little bit faster, a little bit more efficiently. It's not a crazy increase. There's only 2 skill points in it, so this increases your marching speed by 50%. I think it's, given that we're not investing in double exchange this run, so we can drop 2 skill points here, we put 1 in the double exchange, and then dump the rest into the warfare supplies. Totally solid, at least for me. Then moving up to 25. Then we have the virus dish. This I actually really like. Basically what this does is at max level, this allows you to dump 90 virus stacks on top of you, which does give you the capability to do some neat explosive strategies for putting virus onto your enemies. I'm not sure if I've spoken about that in a video, but maybe I'll make one about that and try to detail the strategy a little bit more concretely. But this is definitely one that you want to take, and is especially made more powerful if other people on your alliance have the skill as well, and you can coordinate with them to spread virus onto your enemies. Now, next one is an interesting one, which is disguise. So basically what you can do during this is that it hides your information so that you don't appear in battle reports for 30 minutes, and you can do that once every 2 days. So this is an interesting one where it basically kind of allows you to do, quiet hit and runs. Now, like, what it doesn't do is it doesn't, like, make it so that, like, your troops don't show up on the map or anything. But if you can attack someone when they're offline, or if they're not paying attention or what have you, it doesn't give them any battle report for it, so they just won't know who did it. This one has, like, I think is a utility skill which has some really creative applications, but it's not one that I necessarily know how to leverage super well. So if you've used this skill before, and you have like some really neat strategy for ways to take advantage of it, feel free to drop a note in the comments and, give us some ideas. I'll also take this brief moment to say, if this video is helping you out and giving you some cool ideas, please do drop a comment, drop a thanks or whatever, like the video, subscribe, feel free to share it to your alliance, all that sorts of stuff. I appreciate all the comments and everything, and I enjoy reading the stuff that folks write. So again, thanks. But let's keep it going. So moving up next, we have Team Strike, which when participating in or initiating rallies, it boosts damage for all the squads in the rallies, but it does not stack. That's reasonable. Otherwise, it would at max level it grants 5% boost. And if it did stack, it would be a 25% damage boost for everybody in the rally, which would just be like absolutely bonkers. It'd be great, but it would be bonkers. So unfortunately, it doesn't stack. Now, as we spoke about before in the season 1 videos, when you're fighting strong against the monsters that protect the strongholds, you do want your strongest member being the person who does that rally. And if they have this Team Strike maxed out, then it'll further increase the power output that your rallies are going to get against those strongholds. So that's something to consider. Of like, this is a skill that is made even better against the adversaries of season 1 or the NPCs of season 1. When used by the stronger folks in your alliance. And you're going to need their help for sure, because they're going to be your heavy hitters, knocking down the walls, kind of separating you from further cities and further strongholds. So if they take this, this will kind of lessen the blow a little bit. Alrighty, so let's move it on up to level 35. So here we have 3. We have Professional Insights, which you can use to gain at max level. It'll be 10% of your current level's Profession EXP, up to a maximum of 100,000 EXP, and you can do that once per day. Initially, I wasn't super keen on this, but by the time that you get up to level 35, you do need quite a bit of EXP. To get up there. And at least for me, a lot of my buildings were kind of starting to get completed around then. So I was just like running out of big avenues for EXP. This one actually does kind of help you crawl the last couple of levels up, because you get 100,000 EXP every day. And that does add up. So it is small, it does seem small, and it is slow, but it does compound, and it is very useful. Then we have Reinforce Strengthen. That feels like it's grammatically weird, but that's okay. And basically, when you're reinforcing an ally's base, all of their team's heroes, attack and defense and HP increase, which is not stackable. This one I don't super value, because if I'm reinforcing a teammate's base, maybe during Zombie Siege, this could be more useful, because they're fighting wave after wave, and you can help them save some troops, because their troops become more powerful because you're there. But it's not super duper huge. I usually, if I'm trying to stop something bad from happening to my ally, I'm not always reinforcing them. That's kind of preemptive. But if something is already happening to them, then I'm going to jump on wherever the attack is coming from and do that. And fight away whatever adversary is attacking my ally. So for me, Reinforce Strengthen, not super worth it. So this one's kind of a pass for me. Then we have Tactical Reinforce, which is when you're reinforcing an ally's base, the attacking side's unit casualty rate increases. Similarly, this is also kind of the same thing, where I'm not usual. If I'm reinforcing somebody, it's because the danger isn't present right now, but I expect that it will be. Kind of similar to Zombie Siege, or during War Day, if we're trying to bait someone into attacking a unshielded base. Maybe that's a use case. But usually if you already have your shield up, then you can reinforce somebody and then kind of protect them that way. So the use case is there. Because I tend to be a more combat-centric player, I'm much more likely to not have a shield and then jump into the combat to engage. And if you have this profession, you should probably be doing the same thing. So for that reason, I don't think, Tactical Reinforce and reinforce strengthen like aren't skills that fit my play style particularly well. So I would probably go for just maxing out the professional insights, or maybe just putting a couple skill points into it. By this point, if you pick up the season 1 pass, you'll also be getting a couple of extra season 1 like skill point tokens, which basically just gives you some extra bonus skill points. So by this point, by level 35, if you've taken that banner, which I highly recommend, you should have some extra skill points, so you can probably max out professional insights and then like go back and spend some skill points and some stuff that maybe you only put like 2 or 3 skill points into at the time, but you really do want to get up all the way. And then lastly, we have our level 40 range skills. We have Blast, which basically allows you to blow up the area around your base by 3 base tiles. It reduces the durability of all the bases that you hit by 25%. And you can use it like once every 3 days. There's only 1 level to this. This was like a skill that I took for season 1, but I never really had the presence of mind to use it, just because it came to me so late that like I already kind of had my established strategies for how I wanted to engage with the enemy. I would use the virus skill and kind of like go in and have those stacks, and I might boost my base up to 100 virus and then try to blow up on the enemies and that kind of thing. And I would only then remember after the fact that, oh wait, I can use Blast and blow up my base to deal some extra integrity damage to my enemies. Not to say that it's like a bad skill, but it's just one that I never utilized particularly well. If you were able to take advantage of it, feel free to drop a comment. If you have some cool strategies of ways that you and your alliance were able to use it, I do, because you only reduce the durability by 25%. It is the kind of skill that I think shines most if you can get other people on your team to use it as well. Then we have Charge Banner, and what this is going to do is it's going to increase the attack of allies whose bases are within the range by 2%. And that's going to go up to a maximum of 10% once you have... Wait, does it? Oh, no, sorry. That'll go to a maximum of 10%. If multiple people use it, it doesn't have multiple levels. But the idea here is that you have multiple people at level 40 use Charge Banner. Up to 5 will grant you the full 10% damage boost. And then lastly, we have the Decay Ray. This one is when you attack an enemy's base, a certain portion of seriously injured units will be degraded by a level. All the way down to a minimum of level 1, and you can degrade 1,000 troops per day with that skill. I don't think that that's like super duper great, simply because like your opponents probably have more than just 1,000 troops. So degrading 1,000 troops isn't that big of a deal, at least not to me. So I would probably spend the skill point elsewhere. For me, my biggest take for level 40 is definitely going to be Charge Banner. If you have, like, the more people who have it, at least 5, if you all have the presence of mind to use it at the right time, like a 10% damage increase for everybody or for all of your allies within the range is a meaningful shift that can it makes close battles a little less close and can be like the differentiator in a combat for taking over a city or taking over a stronghold, especially if the other alliance is there to contest you. So I think Charge Banner is of the 3 here at level 40, like definitely the one that I would take. And if you have the bonus season tokens and you have the extra skill points, then like you could totally take the other twos because they're only a 1 skill point investment, and then try to experiment with them and see what you can do with it. But yeah, Charge Banner is definitely my take. While we're here, I will go over these other ones just to kind of talk about them. So then we have at 45 which you can't get to within Season 1, but we'll still talk about it. So in PvP battles, when you're starting a rally, it increases the casualty rate for all the squads in the rally by 1%. That'll go up to a maximum of 5% if you take it all the way up. And then we have the hold the base. So heroes placed in the base wall defense lineup gain a 1% increase to attack, defense, and HP. That's going to max out at 5% for each of those as well. So basically what this is going to do is, like, you know, the dudes that you keep on your wall become a little bit more powerful. You get a 5% increase to your basically your defensive lineup. And then for this stuff, it's going to be when you're doing a rally, it's going to increase the casualty rate. So you just kill more of your enemy troops. I think this is going to be, both are pretty decent. You'll notice kind of a pattern of, like, you know, at max level, you get a 5% increase here or a 5% increase there. Like, you know, that kind of stuff sounds insignificant, but it's all of those things that combined that are going to, you know, add up and be more valuable. Then lastly, and to put a cap on that, you know, it'll depend. Like, I would probably go maybe 2 points in one and 3 in the other. Or if I have some extra bonus season 1 skill points, I've kind of help even that out. But whichever you kind of prioritize here is more dealer's choice. For me, I like the defensive, just because I'm not super worried about, like, if the troops necessarily die, but I want them to be injured, and then I want to fill up those barracks as much as I can, and then start just, like, wiping out huge swaths of troops. So that's my thought. And because of that, I want my troops to not die. So I want a defense increase for my guys who are in the base. Alrighty, and then the last tier that we have here is level 50. We have Virus Control, which is defeat a Doomwalker for a chance to get a summoning item, which lets you target specific enemies. I've not seen this because I'm not past the off season between season 1 and 2, so I can't really speak to how that works or what it does. My understanding is that it allows you to summon a Doomwalker to attack a specific enemy. If you've signed on, like, at certain times and, like, your base is smoldering, but, like, there's no report of anybody attacking you, then usually what's happened is that, like, a Doomwalker locked onto you and decided to whack you or something like that. Then we have the Destruction Mine. So you deploy Destruction Mine in the original Warzone. And then when triggered, it causes 50 units to die in the drill ground, and you can pop it, or rather, it lasts for a day. It has a 3-day cooldown, but you can hold 2. Yeah, by the looks of this, I think it probably increases up to 250 troops that die in the drill grounds when you put a mine down. This is, like, if you have a hole in your alliance lineup. Usually everybody puts up in a grid. You can kind of bait people into landing on the landmine by having one open square that seems enticing, and then hopefully they'll land on it, and then they'll take the damage that way. And then the last one here we have is Base Strike, which is heroes attacking enemy bases gain a 1% increase to attack, defense, and HP, and that's going to cap out at 5% at max level. Similarly, this is just kind of like the opposite of Hold the Base, where this is defensive and this is offensive. And similarly, like we said before, like, those 5% increases are going to add up. For me, I would probably focus on Base Strike first, and then if I have some, like, extra skill points, I'll probably put one in Destruction Mine to kind of try it out and see if I can, you know, how frequently I can, like, make that happen. And then I'll probably also try Virus Control as well and put 1 point into that just to kind of try it out and get a better understanding of it. Like, you know, how well can I actually leverage it to do what I want it to do. But yeah, that's the 50 levels that are available to us at the time. That's kind of the whole tree from top to bottom. But also remember that, like, you know, for season 1, the cutoff is level 40. So those top 5 skills at the very end are not going to be something that is going to be of any real concern. But yeah, as you can see, I think this skill tree is true to its name. There's a lot of really good mobility options that allow you to move around better than people who don't have this profession. There's a lot of damage increases. There's stuff to increase the speed of your troops that you generate. There's stuff to increase just getting troops for free. Your hospital recovery, like, everything I feel like is well centered around, you know, what it needs to do. But yeah, that's generally my assessment of the tree. Some general thoughts that I have about what I would invest in, and kind of what I would prioritize based on how I like to play. And if you play in a similar way, then hopefully you found this valuable. Hopefully it gave you some ideas. Maybe it gave you some inspiration to try out playing a little bit more differently. But yeah, that's gonna be bring this to a close. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Feel free to drop a comment. If it helped you out, feel free to like and subscribe, all that razzmatazz. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.